last little bit. Just sat over there just now, and another set of glimpses have come up. Basically, I'm sitting on my hammock, and these puppets are now hectoring me to give them the other 7 bowls of water that fill every day on that table that are meant for the 7 other balls. And they're going to study how it fills up and recreate it in their laboratories and manufacture millions and millions of little bowls, one for every household, so everybody's got this water on tap forever. And they wanted to take my bowl away as well for some reason, or I could have a bit of it. But all the rest is them because they know I love them desperately to have done all this for them, and I don't mind sharing, and I'll give them all my gifts and all the truth and all the food because they're the good and I did it all for them, which is kind of true. So I'm looking at them and I'm already in despair. This is one day. And then there's another glimpse of one at the big puppet, the really big one. He's now quite large. And he's standing on a kind of white cliff or bluff over me. And he's saying things like, well, we don't need faith, love and charity anymore. Because we've got you, Lord. We know the true religion. We know all about the truth. We've got the absolute truth all from you. Only you could have done this. You're our God. And so we don't need faith because we have you. We don't need hope because we have you. We need love, he said, because we know we've got to love you and you've got to love us. And we don't need charity except yours. We know that you're the spirit of charity, he says, so you can give us everything and make us all gods. Now, I knew, still do, that particular puppet has suffered terribly for many, many years. He's never understood anything. He didn't know why he was left out and not fed anything and not given any powers, and he was just stuck up there, didn't know why. Now you can see why. So, I'm not having this. I'm just not going to have it at all. I've made a terrible mistake feeding the puppets and assuming because they were good that they were really good. No, they're not. No, they're not. That's the whole point. So, I found myself again sitting at the table, and I picked up the cup, I think it was, I sunk in the ground, and I put it on the table. And all the puppets are protesting, little squeaky protests, be kind, Lord, be merciful. And then, because they're not going to have any mercy on me, this will go on forever. Give us this and give us that because you love us. They have done nothing to earn any of it. That's my heaven. All they've done is they just happen to be dead. They've all got their own opinions they want to take away from me and give it to everyone else who also haven't earned it. They're complete, utterly, they're a kind of vampire, you know. So I was sitting at the table again, and the 7 bulls moved in. We all sat at the table looking at each other. But I assume they can see, I don't know. And it's obvious what we've got to do. The 7 bowls are for the 7 bulls. They're not for these puppets at all. I made a terrible mistake. It was my first day, and I've paid for it with all these visions of what it means to feed the good, when we know that what they don't know is that, well, look at them. They ask for those clothes from Satan because they can't stand the drafts. They can't stand up by themselves. They're too soft to do any work. They're all kind of sponges. They're sponges on God, but they're still sponges. So me and the seven bulls, I rule their wills as well. It's a pretty unkind fate for all of us, really, but we're going to pick them all up and chase them down the mountain, shouting and hollering, and get them all off that mountain. I'm going to destroy the fairground, which they didn't ask my permission. None of this have they asked my permission at all. They just assumed I would allow it because I was the god of love. And I must love them no matter what. You know, yes, they're sorry for their sins, but at the same time, it doesn't stop them committing some more, does it? And it's just going to be an absolute nightmare. So we'll chase them off the mountain tomorrow morning, and we're going to put barriers up. We're going to smash the fairground down. We don't want them around. They can watch us from the shantytown. They've had all the truth that I can spare them. I'm not going to give them any more. And basically, we will appear as pillars of smoke and light and all that. But I will have my heaven for me and these seven, who probably didn't earn it quite the way I did. But there's 7 bowls, and then the 8th one for me. And that is sufficient company for me. I only need about 7 companions. I do not need great herds of bloody reverential puppets who are all on the bloody cadge, which is all that they're really doing. They've got no intention of doing anything for themselves. They don't really obey me in any way whatsoever. It's all what's in it for them. And they're turning my presence on that mountain into a civilization and industry. They've got the truth. They can force everybody else in the universe to abide by it, and they know it. So it's a terrible mistake. We're going to chase them out of there and keep my heaven for me. Occasionally I walk through the town and let them see me, because that'll give them the love and reassurance, which is all they need. And they'll never understand that they're really evil. And I've now finally understand me that what I've done is evil. Telling the absolute truth to all the commons is both absolutely good and absolutely evil at the same time. So I deserve my fate. So I'm going to have to stick my elbows out and chase them down the mountain and kick them out. I don't want them there. They should never have been there in the first place. Anyone can die, but it takes a bit of doing to put God's opinion before your own, and none of them can do it. So it's going to have a bit of a happier ending, because I've foreseen this now. The missions are all quite clear what I've got to do. I'm white like rational. I can think straight. If I was there, I am there in spirit, but in the collective unconscious I won't be able to do this. So it's going to get a bit dark. Well, it does at night. In the morning they're gone. They can have their bloody shanty town. They can see me from afar. That's all they ever needed anyway. So I've come to the conclusion that because the good are so many millions and millions of cadgers, how can they be anything but evil? I mean, they were taking it all away from me within one day. So I must be evil because, well, God was right in the first place. You've got to be an evil spirit. And if he's evil and I'm evil, well, it's just a question of recognition then, isn't it? So it's no longer yes but, it's just plain yes. I'm going to have a happy ending after all. I like to be select.